Hey, what's going on everyone? This is iReviews back with another video, and today we're talking about battery on iOS 26.3. Now, as I have talked about on my previous videos, the battery on iOS 26.3 is actually quite good. But there are, of course, a few other things that you can do in order to make sure that you make it even better. Now, before we get into all that, I would just want to ask you guys for a really quick favor. Most of you guys that watch my videos are currently not subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the videos and you want to see more of them, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel a lot. Now, first of all, you will need to make sure that you're updated to the latest version of iOS 26.3. Of course, if you have been testing iOS 26.3 and you have been on any of the betas of iOS 26.3, make sure that you're updated. Even if you have updated to the RC of iOS 26.3, make sure that you actually have the latest update, because with the release of iOS 26.3 to the public, Apple has also released another update for testers, for beta testers, devs, and public testers. So you will have another after the RC that you have installed. So make sure you have the latest update installed on your device. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you have all of your apps up to date. Now, as you can see right here, I have a ton of updates, and you can see the most popular apps already have updates released after the release of iOS 26.3. Now, usually this will happen. A lot of apps, especially the more popular ones, will be releasing updates after a major iOS update. So make sure you go ahead and update all of your apps. Now, if you don't want to do that manually, of course, you can do that automatically by going to the App Store settings. Now, right here under apps, you go to App Store and you will have here the section for automatic downloads. Simply enable app updates here and you're good to go. Now, with iOS 26.3, if you live in EU, you will have a new feature called notification forwarding. Now, you will find it right here under the notification settings, and just right here underneath screen sharing. When you have like a third-party accessory and connected to your iPhone, you will be able to forward notifications to that device. Now, if you don't really need that, make sure you don't enable that feature, because of course it will consume battery, as it needs to push the notifications all the time to the third-party device. So if you don't really need that, make sure you have that turned off. Now, of course, while you're here, make sure that you also adjust your notifications. Now, notifications are probably one of the things that will consume the most battery on your iPhone. So what you need to do here is, of course, just go ahead and take a look at the notifications that you're using, the apps that have notifications enabled. A lot of apps, you don't actually need to have notifications all the time. So put a lot of notifications on scheduled summaries. A lot of them, you can just turn them off completely, like notifications from things like games or apps that are not really that important. Make sure to turn them off completely and put as many as you can on the scheduled summary. Now, another feature that you will find on iOS 26.3, which is new, will be found under the seller section. Now, this is currently limited to only a few carriers in EU, in USA, like Boost, I believe, and a few other countries. Most people won't have still this option, but if you do have it, make sure to turn on limit precise location for your carrier. So you go under seller data options, you will find there the option, if you have it, to limit the carrier specific location. That way you stop the carrier from tracking your specific location, and also save a ton of battery. The next thing will be apps that are draining your battery, and here's how you can find which apps are draining your battery. So right here, when you go to view the usage of your battery, you will see here a list of apps. If you see here any apps that are at the top here and you're not using them that much, then that means that you need to actually remove that app from your device. Now, if you have used an app a lot and it's showing right here, of course, it should be here because you have been using it. But if you have used an app just for like a few minutes and it's still at the top of the usage list, then make sure you go ahead and remove that app from your device and find a better alternative on the App Store. Now the same thing goes for widgets as well. Don't just use a ton of widgets on the home screen, especially widgets that need to be updated all the time, like news widgets or maybe like weather widgets and things like that do need to be updated all the time and that are actually using your location and your seller data. Like this one right here from stocks, which needs to be updated all the time. That will actually consume a ton of battery. What I suggest you do is just make sure that you only use the widgets that you actually need. Now the same thing goes also for the widgets on your lock screen. Always make sure that you only use the widgets that you need and just don't have a ton of widgets that you are actually not that useful just showing up on the lock screen. And we're staying here on the lock screen. So on the lock screen, you will have basically 3 types of wallpapers that you can actually enable. Like a wallpaper like this, it will just stay there. You will have the spatial wallpaper, which you can enable by using this button right here, which is new on iOS 26, but it does consume a ton of battery. And you will also then have the live wallpapers. Now, when it comes to the spatial scene wallpapers and live wallpapers, of course, everything that does move, that has to move around, will actually use a ton of battery. So what I suggest you do is make sure that you go ahead and limit the use of those wallpapers. Don't use them all the time because of course they will just consume a ton of battery. Next up, we're talking about Apple Intelligence. If you have a device that does support Apple Intelligence, but you don't actually use it, then make sure that you turn it off. Now, I've had Apple Intelligence on this device, of course, since it was introduced back in June 2024, I believe it was, yes, 2024, and I have actually not used it that much at all. So for the most time, I keep it turned off completely. Now, even if you don't use this, this will work in the background because it's preparing stuff like to summarize or give you the ability to write something that's working on the background, even though you might not use it. So if you don't find yourself actually using it, make sure you come here under the Apple Intelligence and Siri settings and just turn it off. And now let's move under the accessibility settings and go here. You will find Siri. So there we have Siri, and I have here a setting that I believe you should turn off completely and always keep it off. This is the setting right here. Always listen for the Siri word. Now what this does is that it will keep your iPhone active all the time. Your iPhone is all the time listening, basically prepared to listen for that word and just invoke Siri. Whether your iPhone is facing down or you have it in your pocket, it will always stay listening for that word. So make sure you have that turned off as well. And of course, one of the things that has also been suggested by Apple is always background app refresh. Always make sure that you go to background app refresh and just turn off the apps that you know you don't need to be refreshing in the background. Make sure you turn them off and just leave on the apps that actually need to be right here, because these will actually consume a ton of battery as they're constantly working on the background. And last but not least, of course, under privacy and security, location services, make sure that you have this configured the right way. Location services also will consume a ton of battery, probably one of the biggest battery drainers of your iPhone. Make sure you go to apps. Now, I keep this off all the time. I will turn it on only when I actually need to use location services. But if you don't want to do that, then just make sure you go through all the apps that you have. For most of them, I suggest you turn off precise location and just use while using the app, and don't allow these apps to actually track your location all the time. So that is it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. If you did, smash that like button and of course subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you on the next one.